Welcome to the Cabinet Maker Profit System podcast. I'm Dominic Rubino, and today's guest is Chip Tighe. He's from Organizers Direct, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things that you've been very curious about, like why closets are a hidden gold mine. You may have thought about it, but we're going to unveil that today. There's 3 business models you need to know. We're going to talk about that today, and we also want to avoid the trap of over-customization at the same time. All that is pretty darn cool, and I think it's a good reason to listen to the show. You know, I got some feedback from you guys a couple of months ago that you want the dad jokes removed from the show. And so you're never going to be able to hear this classic. What do you get if you put a light bulb inside a suit of armor? You get a nightlight. Listen, before we get to the episode, I want to remind you that the next Foreman and Supervisor 101 training is coming up. If you're interested in joining us for that training, get in touch with me. Let me know. I'll walk you through what it looks like. You and your foreman both have to be on board before you get in there, which is obviously a great step, having everybody bought in. Just send me a text message at 315-903-7853 and say Foreman Training, and I'll give you the details. Let's get to the episode. Mr. Chip Tighe, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a long time since, well, I guess it hasn't been that long. You and I had our pre-meeting earlier this month.
Yep.
But we've been organizing it for a while.
That's right.
Yeah. I'm actually excited to have you here because we're talking about business models, and nothing makes my geeky, dorky business coach heart feel better than talking about business models.
Well, I love it.
So, you're an expert in the closet industry, which is fantastic, and the organizing industry, which has a lot of different arms and tentacles, but a lot of people don't know about that, which is why we asked you to be here. Let me do this. I'm going to ask you a big question.
Okay.
Chip Tighe, who the heck are you? And how is it you come to be speaking to all these forward-facing woodwork industry experts all around the world?
That's a loaded question. I guess the easy way to answer that is I grew up working in a family business retail store. At about 25, I realized that I didn't really want to be in retail. I like selling. Selling was what I was good at and put food on the table. But I liked being able to create things that people were looking for, building stuff, and getting paid to do that. So my first project was a home organization looking at my closet space going, there's got to be somewhere better or some better way of doing this. And, that led to just trial and error and getting into building closets for people.
Yeah. And that's how you become this sort of expert in the field of understanding the different business models and how people can go to market and get into this business or make the most of this business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, I originally thought that, building the product myself was going to be the satisfying part. I like building stuff, but doing it day to day for your customer is a challenge. So, whether you're have an architecture mill shop or a panel processor or a distributor, there's different ways to get into the business.
Yeah. A lot of people like custom, like as a way to feel good about what you're producing, and who doesn't like that? You want to produce beautiful product and solve complex problems. The challenge is if we don't get paid for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, right. I mean, and that's the thing. When somebody goes out and says, I want to have a closet done, they're not saying I want to buy something off the shelf. I want a custom closet built to their specifications, their needs, the stuff that they want to store there, whether they're a handbag person or shoes or hats or whatever it is. You got to make sure that you design that space to house those things.
Yeah.
So that is the tricky part, and getting paid for it is always a challenge. You have to make sure that, your customer says, hey, can you build this for me? I'm like, I can build anything you want.
The question is,
are you willing to pay for it?
Let's step back and look at the industry from a whole. So you guys, you talk about organization a lot. I keep saying closets. You say, so what are the kinds of things that you guys what are the solutions you bring for organizing? There's closets,
garage.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in Southern California. Garages are a bigger deal here. In other parts of the world, it's basements and stuff like that as well.
Sure.
And maybe garage isn't as important, but it's replaced by basement. Pantry, home office, Murphy beds.
Okay, you do Murphy beds as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's an interesting one because there's so many pieces of equipment that make that thing go back up and down.
Well, that, but it also the space itself. A lot of people are working from home, so they need that dual purpose room that
Right.
can house guests when they need to, or they can, run a Zoom call.
How long you been in this industry?
Over 25 years.
So, oh, that's as long as I've been business coaching. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long enough,
So
half my life. So,
I have my own answers to this, but what's the most interesting thing you've walked in and had somebody say, I want a way to organize this?
oh, well, I mean, the most interesting thing, um, well, I love the people that have obsession over certain things, whether it's men with their watches, women with
Okay.
handbags, shoes are always a big thing for that. But
Yeah.
it's funny that you find somebody that has a niche, like they've got a house where they like cooking and they've got a lot of appliances and they're trying to figure out how to house all that
Hide
in their
them.
pantry, have them accessible, but not look like as an appliance store.
Right.
So it's funny you run across just the most unique things, which is really what's cool about the business because you can, solve that problem for them.
Yeah.
I
To,
like
the re-
solving problems.
we want to solve problems and people are willing to pay to have their problem solved, which comes down to the custom side, right? Or
Yep.
or being able to use our product set because it doesn't always have to be custom. The customer has to think it's custom. But some of the things I've heard from our clients, from our coaching clients, is NFL helmets, guns, of course. People want to display their guns, but they want to have them, you know,
Hidden.
not laying on the floor, right? You want to display them nicely. There was somebody apparently that had creepy Santa Claus figurines.
Luckily, I have not run across that.
Yeah.
Football helmets, shoes. I've had
Lego.
some,
That's the other one.
professional
Lego.
athletes
Yeah.
that, I mean, I've done exclusive closets for shoes only,
Just for shoes.
just for shoes.
Was that for Imelda Marcos, the ex-president of the,
No,
was it
but
the
somebody
Philippines?
that gets paid to put a ball into a hoop. So,
Ah, okay. Can't
yeah,
name names.
yeah.
Can't name names. It's interesting when we get those kinds of calls. Yeah. The other interesting application that I heard of, this was down in southern Louisiana, was there was a $300,000 closet that one of our clients was building, and that was only the wife's closet. And the feature of the whole closet was her wedding dress. And that was even before they touched the husband's closet. But guys, as we know, we get like 4 feet of
I
space on our
love
back.
meeting those people.
Yeah.
Those are ideal customers. And the crazy thing is when you get into this business, you get sort of locked into wanting to solve or wanting to work with these customers. And you really got to be careful because when somebody is obsessed with having their wedding dress be a showcase, they're going to be they're going to run you through the ringer as far as making them happy. So you got to make sure you're charging that customer appropriately so that
Are
there's
you
money at the
saying
end of the day for you.
are you saying somebody that's willing to pay $300,000 for a closet is high maintenance?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm saying
exactly what
that
I'm
too.
saying.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, are you curious about ways to develop your foreman and make him or her into the best leader that your floor or install crew could ever have? Well, we've got something here for you. It's called the Foreman Development Self-Assessment and Career Planning Tool. It is a fantastic tool. It's being used by cabinet and millwork shops right now, and you can see it as well. Just send me a text message. My cell phone number is 315-903-7853, and just say Foreman tool, and then I'll know which one to send you. I kind of took you off the rails here because what are the three business models that you were talking to me about for getting into this industry? And obviously, there's pluses and minuses to each, but let's keep this at like a professor level and
Yep.
educational. What are the three models that I need to know about for this industry?
I mean, in general terms, I would say there's the DIY. So you open up your own shop, buy equipment, do all that. There's buying a franchise. And then the last would be like a distributorship where
Mm,
you find somebody to cut your components for you based on your needs.
right. Yeah, and I could see how each of those would have a different appeal. Let me take a stab at it. Is DIY the most expensive and highest risk option?
Yes.
And by
I would
DIY, I
say,
mean,
yeah,
well, let
for
me ask
sure.
you, what do you mean by DIY?
Well, that's a guy that rents a space, leverages everything he's got to come in and nowadays it's, millions of dollars worth of equipment, CNC
Mm,
routers, edge banders, all that stuff that you need to cut and drill and edge band your components. Not to mention the inventory and the computer systems that go along with making those things actually produce something.
Right.
So that, and then the employees that you need to move the material through.
Yeah. And that's before you really open the doors, before you
Right.
start going on your first sales call.
Can't sell a job first and then bring that in.
Right. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? You can't go
Yeah.
sell a job and they say, give me 6 months to build the factory.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that doesn't work anymore. Interesting. So that's the what we've been calling DIY side, where I go lease a space, I have to put a personal guarantee on it. Then I get equipment. That takes months, if not, multiple months to get in place and get tuned, and then have the staff up and running to run it while I'm trying to run a business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
fun.
you're releasing that space on your projections of what you think you're going to need in the next 5 years because you don't want to have to try and move the equipment and do all that. So it's that's a challenge to get set up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. And then what's the second model that you mentioned?
Be like buying a franchise.
Right. Yeah. I used to be a franchisor, not in the closet business, not in the home organization space. It was actually for business coaching, believe it or not.
Yep.
I like to double down on the things I know.
Franchising is a great way to do it. There's nothing wrong with franchising. It just what I have seen is a lot of people get into a franchise because they want to learn the business, but after 2 years, they're sort of handcuffed because they have to live and die by the franchise model versus
Mm,
really now that they have a taste for it and are an entrepreneur, they can't really go outside that box, and that's frustrating for everybody.
yeah. I was so just for perspective in the franchising world, I was what's called a global master franchisor. So I
Hmm.
owned the global rights to a franchising concept, and so we would sub franchise like Southern California or
Yep.
somebody who just was a franchisee in Chicago or Vancouver, etc. And one of the things that I learned looking, just glancing across the whole landscape is you could buy any franchise you want, but what you're really getting is the support and the systems. And if that support and systems didn't work or didn't work for you, you're locked in.
Yeah.
Like there really is a lock in. And yes, you have to learn. You learn from that franchisor and there should be value, but there are pluses and minuses to it for sure. There's lots of people who are multi-unit franchisees who've been franchisees for years and do well, but you really have to do a lot of homework to make sure that what would you call it? Hitch your pony to the right wagon.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And after a while, it becomes one of those things where you're dependent on each other because they're typically the franchisor is supplying you all your leads and all your business that you need each month. And to, think about restarting all that and going on your own is such a impossible or such a daunting task that most people don't, they just continue to pay their royalties and franchise fees and
It's a
sell
hard
sell
reset.
product. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard reset for sure.
Yeah.
And then what's the third model?
That'd be like a distributorship. So
Ah,
getting in with a manufacturer that produces the products for you.
okay. And I mean, you probably have the same due diligence. You need to make sure that distributor hits the quality standards, has the product set. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. The tools you need to be able to sell the projects or the product, whatever it is that you're producing. Pricing's correct, delivery time is correct, and the quality is there.
Mm. Yeah. So when you talk about quality, what are some of the things I need to look for in quality? Because that would be the same for franchising or distributorship, and then I'd be responsible for that 100% on the DIY side, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of different components that go into a closet, whether it's the melamine itself, the uprights, having quality board there that's not going to yellow or deteriorate or delaminate or do anything funky in the customer's home. And then
Mm.
you've got drawer faces, you've got hardware, hinges, alignment, making sure that everything works and functions the way it's supposed to. I'm happy to say that what I have found in the closet business is if you produce it correctly and you install it right, you're not going to have a callback on it. If
Right.
something happens and they need you to come back out and fix something, it's because they had water damage or something happened in that home that your system was affected, but not because your system didn't cause the problem.
The plumber dragged pipe across
Yeah.
the gable ends. We hear that all the time. And
Yeah.
and
There's a lot of crazy things that can happen in someone's home, but it's usually not because of the closet system or the pantry didn't fail in some way.
yeah, I guess the other thing that goes on here with closets is your install. I'll say typically is a day or less. It depends obviously on the size of the closet. Whereas on kitchens and definitely millwork, it could be multiple days, if not months.
Yeah. The one of the things I do love about it is we're not dependent on other trades or subs to finish our project.
Wow, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It was one of the scheduling headaches that the closet and millwork industry is just plagued with. Is we're waiting for the I just name insert
Yeah.
trade here. We're waiting for the
Baseboards,
electrician to come back.
flooring, plumber, electrician. I mean, everybody is a potential roadblock in so many other projects in the home. There's a floor-based system and there's a wall-hung system. If I'm doing something in a multifamily, like an apartment complex or something, or a condos, I'll do wall-hung because all I have to do is have paint on the wall and I can go and install it. So it opens up that window
Mm,
versus if it's a floor-based system, you got to wait for baseboards, carpet, and everything else. And typically at that point, the builder doesn't want anybody else, no more subs in that home. So you're the last guy to go in there and finish it, and you have a day window to complete it.
yeah. What's the trend that you're seeing right now in closets across all of those things? What are people asking for, and how has that changed the industry?
I mean, lighting is definitely one of the things that's been I
Mm.
mean, that's actually,
You've got nice lighting behind you there, so that was a good point. Yeah.
yep, well, that's my stuff there, but that is lighting is definitely, and it's raised the bar or the average ticket of a closet considerably just by adding lighting. There's so many cool things you can do with that now, and that, and then the other hardware. Just there's some companies out there that have come up with some uh, it's not just a handle or a closet rod. It's a whole pull-out accessories, and everything is color matched, and it's all
Mm.
coordinating solutions, which really, whether it's jewelry you're trying to organize, or sunglasses, or shoes, or whatever, they've got little accessories that go with that make it all look nice and pretty.
Yeah, this is just heaven for neat freaks, people that really like to be organized. This is
Us OCD people just love it.
so CD people love it. Yeah, that's right. When I look at this industry, I wonder if you see the same thing. I tend to see people that get into the kitchen business or the millwork business are cabinet makers or millworkers. But what I also notice is that people get into the closet business tend to come at it as a business person who's looking for a business opportunity. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways that people look at it or that come to us. So, they might be coming from the interior design background, or somebody might be looking at, I already do kitchen and bath remodels, and I'm looking to put another tool in the bag. How else, once I've got that customer that likes me and wants to buy product from me, what else can I do for them?
Oh, right.
So, and interior designers are using closets as a way to get in and organize that space. And then they can maybe help them redesign their living room or dining room, or help them find furniture and other things. So it's just another way to get in. And, lead generation is one of the most challenging things in a business. Once
Mm,
you generated that lead and that customer likes you and you guys click, it's like, what else can I sell them? So we always
yeah.
want to, that's why I like this, is we've garages, pantries, home office, all these other things that we can do. I look at a home and go, oh, I can organize that space. That weird alcove you have underneath the stairs there. What if we built you some shelving there for all your photo albums? So you can, create projects for yourself.
Yeah, inside the same opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The industry itself is growing and changing all the time. One of the things that I hear from closet people is that kitchen companies can't really do closets the same way closet companies. Oh, you're smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
maybe
competing
if
against a kitchen guy. She's, oh, my kitchen guy's been in that closet. I'm like, perfect. I love it.
so tell us why, because that's some kitchen guys are listening to this. What's the difference?
I mean, there is a method to organizing somebody's space and making sure, I mean, like a simple thing would be like, you wouldn't want to put, their shirt hanging clothes. A lot of times you go in and we be able to maximize the space by going up taller. So, somebody might design it so shirts are over a drawer bank, but every time you go to open up your drawers and look at it, you got the shirts that are kind of in your face there, and it's not just it just doesn't work well. So
Hmm.
there's certain rules that you kind of have to follow, but it's also just knowing key metrics of sizes of shelf. If somebody's going to store, here's another example. If you're going to put somebody, you have a male that wants to store a bunch of shoes, you wouldn't want to design a 24-inch wide shelf for that because he'd only be able to put 2.5 pairs of shoes on that shelf.
2.5 does not work.
Does not work. So just little things like that, when I point those things out to the homeowner, they look at you and go, oh, I see why you are in this business and know how to do it, and
Yeah.
why you charge what you charge.
Yeah. Interesting. It's an easy ask for a kitchen person to say we can do your closets as well, because it sounds like it's the same product and same deliverable, but there's a different method of manufacture, and this goes to gross margins. I would imagine that the kitchen people would over engineer a closet requirement.
Could, yep.
You
That
know,
definitely could happen. I mean, yeah, it's the same reason I wouldn't, if somebody asked me to do a kitchen for them, I wouldn't do it.
yeah, we don't do kitchens.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
just not what my specialty is.
Yeah. I mentioned margins, and without giving away anybody's privacy or confidential information, what kind of margins can somebody expect in the closet? I mean, I guess you're an expert on the distributor side, so you might be able to comment on that better, unless you know industry wide across the other models.
Well, I mean, just talking like gross margins, typically we see needing to be in that 65% range to make everything
I
click.
love it. Yeah. And you're getting, when I say good customer feedback, they're not kicking you out of the house. They're saying, "Yep, okay, that price falls in line with our
Yeah,
expectation."
and that does typically include the design process and the everything installed, done, complete.
Mm,
Um, but that's it's funny because everybody you always talk about this thing. People go, well, I'm getting 3 quotes. I want to make sure that your price is competitive or whatever it is. Really, when people are getting 3 quotes, what they're really doing is like, what do I not know? So it's the education process. They look, and at
yeah,
the end of the day, do they really go, especially somebody that's buying a closet? Now, if it's a hot water heater, they might just go with the cheapest price because they just want warm water. But when it's a closet, it's more of a relationship. And this person's going into their home. We're building out something cool for them, and they're going to go with the people that they have the best rapport, people they like.
right.
So that's typically who they're going to go with. And you just want to make sure your price is fair.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of times people tell me, you're more expensive, but I really feel like you're going to do a better job creating this space where you're going to be happy with the end result. It's a nice to have. It's not a have to have.
Yeah. That's a really important point you bring up, Chip, because we're here to bring solutions to problems.
Yeah.
And money doesn't actually solve all the problems. Cleverness does. And that cleverness gets translated into good design, but it also gets translated into being a good person and showing that know, like, and trust that's so important.
Yeah.
I loved it when I heard from a customer, hey, we're going to get 2 other quotes. I need to look at 3 quotes. No problem. Because guess what's going to happen? One of them's not going to show up at all.
Yep.
The other guy's going to show up and he's going to write something on a scrap of paper, or because I'm old, on the back of a business card. And I would tell people, like, you're going to have to make a decision when you go and look at the competitors in the marketplace. And I would also say, I'm happy for you to go talk to them, because if you talk to 2 others, a total of 3, which is a really good model, this is what's going to happen. And then they would call me back and go, oh my God, Dommy, you're so right. The other guy canceled on us twice and never even showed up the third time. We tried, but you're our guy. I'm like, it's just how it goes. The bar in business is tragically set far too low.
Yeah, it does surprise me, but when somebody says to me, same thing. I'm like, that's great. Do you mind me asking who you have coming out? And I'll tell them exactly what their experience is going to be. And then when they see that and that happens, then they come back to go, yep, you were right. You're right. You're not the cheapest guy, but the only one that other person that showed up was scribbling it down on a piece of paper or graph paper or whatever it is, and just they didn't feel comfortable with it. So it makes me laugh. The other thing it makes, that when somebody says they're getting multiple quotes, or I show up there and they go, hey, you're the third guy coming in. Do you mind if I just block out the price here? And here's the design I want. Can you give me your price on it? And I'd say, I would love to do that, but I don't know who that person is that designed it. Really, what I'd like to do is go through this. I will recreate that design, but let me show you what I could do for you first and what that would
Mhm.
cost. And then we can look at those other designs so you can do a price comparison. By the time you go through that, that other price that they want you to match or the other design doesn't even come into play.
Nice.
So
Chip, you got to be careful. We might have you back as a guest just to talk about how to sell closets. at
Well,
65% gross profit margin.
yeah, if it happens, it happens.
So I haven't, you bring up another point. I feel like I'd miss a big opportunity if I didn't ask you this. You've outlined for us three different business models for this closet industry, right? And this
Yes.
this is a business podcast in the cabinetry and finished woodwork industry. If I got my notes right, one of them is do it yourself, start your own shop, personal guarantees on all that stuff, right? Number two is franchising, and then number three is where you're an expert is the distributorship model.
Correct.
So tell me why distributorship model would be an interesting or exciting or the right business model for people.
Um, well, I mean, it gives you the ability to be in the business, have somebody manufacturing the products for you. So taking away one of the major expenses and pain points.
Mm.
Um, a typical distributor should be able to give you design software, tools, photos for building your website, all the, support that you would need or could get from a franchise, but you're only focused on generating the lead, designing that product and selling it to the customer. So you're just working on the really what I consider the fun side of it, which is creating the project and selling it to the customer.
The independent side.
I get, yeah.
I could be more in control of my outcome.
Yeah. And depending on, it's funny, I have, or I know dealers that are in the same market, and one guy's average ticket might be $6,500 and one guy's might be $4,500. And the difference is just the difference between those two people, where they came from. One guy drives a BMW, higher ticket, he's the nicer things in life. And the other guy's more like bare bones, kind of like, this is really all you really need to get organized. And
Mm.
that works perfectly fine. I'm cool with either version of that.
I think we coached that guy in Rochester, New York, but I wonder if we're talking about the same guy and if he's laughing right now
That's
listening to the
interesting.
show.
That would be funny to know.
um, and it's not a BMW. It's the newest Rivian with all the bells and whistles. He does very well in the closet
Wait, where
industry.
did you say he was?
I didn't, did I?
I think I do know him.
um, okay, so that is an excellent overview. It's like almost like I was sitting in a lecture at a university and like we're going to talk about business models today. Half the kids are sleeping and I'm taking all the notes. Yeah, yeah, okay. Those are the three models.
For that one guy that's listening.
Yeah. So Chip, I mean, you are at Organizers Direct. If somebody wants to find out more about you or learn more about, especially the distributorship model, how do we find you in this big wide world?
Good old World Wide Web, just internet Organizers Direct Industries or organizersdirect.com. And feel free to reach out, contact us, and we can talk to you there.
I found you on LinkedIn as well, but we're probably gonna have to spell your last name because Chip Tighe sounds one way, but it's spelled. Chip is easy. I think if people get Chip wrong, they probably shouldn't be in the business.
Yeah.
But maybe can you spell Tighe for us?
Yeah. Tighe is Tighe.
Excellent. And you're in California.
I'm in California. And it's funny, the LinkedIn thing, my marketing person came back to me and said, "Hey, you got to update your stuff on LinkedIn." I said, "I don't go to LinkedIn. I don't do really any social media."
Mm.
And she's all, "But people go there to find you and look, and they need to see a current picture and
Yeah.
this isn't right and that's right." I said, "Okay, fine. Here's my password. Go in and do whatever you need to do on it." So, I'm really, I just like working.
Yeah.
I'm not
You're
into all the titles and all that stuff.
social media stuff. No, I get that too. I get it. And obviously you're passionate about the industry. I just want to confirm one thing though. You said you gave her your password or your passport. Like you don't have your passport photo on that thing, do you? That would be horrible. You
I
can't
don't
smile in
actually.
it.
She put it on there. I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. No, it's a good picture. I'm like, that's not your passport picture.
No
Could you
password.
imagine having your passport photo as your LinkedIn profile? You're not allowed to smile. You already look like a criminal.
Yeah,
They want you to look like you're the bad guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Passport and driver license photos never do justice there. So
yeah. Well, Chip, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming here and sharing your wisdom with us, especially across all of the models and so balanced. And then it sounds like it is actually as easy to find you if people want to.
yep. Yeah. Feel free, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. And if there's anything else, if you want to talk more sales, I'm open to it.
That might be a thing in the future, Chip. Yeah. I think
Thanks,
you bought
Dominic.
yourself that one. Yeah. All
All
right.
right.
Have a great day.
Appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye bye. Are we at the end of the episode already? I was reading a book about anti-gravity there, and it's impossible to put down. You guys see what I did there? You told me to stop the dad jokes, and I'm not listening to you. I'm a little cheesed. Listen, that was a great episode. Chip gave us the inside track on an industry that you might have been overlooking, or if you're in the industry, he might have kicked at the darkness so you can see where some of the opportunities are that you're not taking advantage of. And I hope you got value from that. I mentioned this at the top of the show as well, but if you want information on the Foreman and Supervisor 101 training that's coming up, send me a text at 315-903-7853 and just say Foreman training. Thanks for checking in, folks. We'll see you at the next episode.